every FBI field office in America has to become much more aggressive about interacting with local government officials, not just electeds, but bureaucrats and so forth, about Chinese practices, about things.
Warfare. Our goal is to occupy America. We have to. They say this is regrettable. The Americans have been good to us, but it's us or them. Either they survive or we survive. We must.
Look, I'm not moving to Russia, but I mean, Putin has been the most effective leader in my lifetime.
Hi guys, I'm here at the Red of Iron Freedom Festival in Newfoundland, Pennsylvania with Trevor Loudon, who is an anti-communist best-selling author. And I wanted to ask you a few questions. So we're very concerned about communist infiltration in America,
Yep.
and it's just a huge issue. People think that the Cold War is over, but it's not. And I heard that there are actually police stations in America
Yeah.
that established by the Chinese Communist Party, and people don't know that.
Eastern District of New York right now, a Fox News alert where we are witnessing a press conference that's being held by the U.S. Attorney's Office there, charging a couple of Chinese nationals in the United States with operating an undeclared Chinese government police station in Chinatown in Manhattan.
How is it allowed to happen?
Well, that's the thing. There are several. When they say police stations, these are where Chinese people set up little organizations and they monitor all the Chinese people here to make sure they're not working with the Americans or say something bad about Xi Jinping. And if they find you do that, your family, you might be kidnapped and taken back to China. Your family might be persecuted. So these are operating in New York, in Minnesota. Tim Walz, who was almost the vice president, that was very closely associated with one in Minnesota. So yeah, I wonder too why they're still allowed to be here, because they shouldn't. Some have been closed down, but not all of them. But what I say is this: the Chinese have captured so many of our senators, our leading businessmen, Hollywood types, Wall Street types, who have a lot of political influence. So they're protected.
Every field office, every FBI field office in America has to become much more aggressive about interacting with local government officials, not just electeds, but bureaucrats and so forth, about Chinese practices, about things to look out for, and how they try to influence local government decisions on everything from contracting, who it is we hire to build a train system or a road or whatever, all the way from that to this notion of some local law enforcement agency being encouraged to do the Chinese government's bidding for them.
They have people here in our system who protect the Chinese infiltration of our country. These are traitors. These people are traitors. But they're getting so much money from China, they will work for China. They will protect China. They will make sure laws that clamp down on the Chinese don't get passed. And that's our big problem. The Chinese call it elite capture. They capture some of our elite people, which then protects their activities at a lower level.
Wow. So I heard that Chinese lobby is the biggest lobby in America. Right?
Yeah,
Political
absolutely.
Lobby. They spend like millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah. Well, you look at it this way: if you're Xi Jinping, the ruler of China, now you want to take down America. That's your goal. You want to destroy this country. They don't want to just compete with us. They want to destroy us. So do you want to risk a multi-billion-dollar trade war, which you might lose? Do you want to risk a multi-trillion-dollar shooting war before you're quite ready? Or do you spend a few $1 billion buying US politicians, funding voter registration organizations? What's a better investment? You know, that's what they do. They buy our politicians. They interfere in our elections on a regular basis. Not for years they've been doing this. And so their goal is to completely control our politics. They say this openly. Our goal, there's a top advisor, and I write about it in my book, Stealth Kamala Harris's Communist Roots. Jin Kan Rong, a top advisor to Xi Jinping, says the reason we put businesses all around America is so that we can get political control to the point that we control all 435 congressional districts in America. That's their stated goal. And most of us are just oblivious to this.
So a lot of people would push back on that, and they would say if they destroy America and American economy, they have no one to buy their stuff. It doesn't make sense. If you supply a lot of stuff to people. You don't
Yeah.
want to lose your customers.
You don't want to destroy your customer
Yeah.
unless you plan to take all your customers' stuff.
Okay.
So the goal is not just to dominate America economically,
Uh-huh.
it is to completely dominate America, destroy the current population here, and bring their people in by the hundreds of millions to occupy this country. Because
Oh.
they are in they have huge problems in China. They're running out of arable land. They have big economic problems, and they are looking at America as where they want to settle their people. They
Oh.
write about this in their book, Unrestricted Warfare. Our goal is to occupy America. We
Oh, wow.
have to. They say this is regrettable. The Americans have been good to us, but it's us or them.
Mhm.
Either they survive or we survive. We must take control of America. So they're killing us with their fentanyl. They're stealing our secrets. They're indoctrinating our kids. They're stealing our military technology. But their ultimate goal is to defeat us militarily and occupy this country.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So it's not just the money. It's way more than the money.
Yeah, I'm from Russia, and now my former government, is working with China, and it's
Absolutely,
really
yeah.
sad. And
Yes.
I hear Russian propaganda from American influencers, like mainstream American influencers,
Yeah.
like Russian propaganda migrated to American TV. It's like, how did this happen? So
Well, look, I say there are three main elements in Earth's atmosphere right now.
Mhm.
There's nitrogen, oxygen, and Russian propaganda. It is ubiquitous.
Putin, who's been there for 25 years, his country's improved. The people are happier. They like him, actually. Look, I'm not moving to Russia, but I mean, Putin has been the most effective leader in my lifetime. But why is he more evil than Joe Biden?
And especially since the Ukraine war, you're getting mainstream American conservatives parroting the Kremlin line all the time.
To say I don't understand. For some reason, you are really invested in defending Russia, and I don't get that. I'm not attacking you with that. I'm genuinely I don't get why you're so passionate about defending Russia.
Absolutely all the time. And you see this now. Well, the latest example, one of Russia's main goal is to divide America from Israel, to
Yeah.
destroy America's support for Israel. So now they're saying things like, well, Israel killed Charlie Kirk.
yeah,
you know,
I think it's like a smokescreen. The whole anti-Zionist, anti-Israel propaganda is like a smokescreen to allow the real enemies to infiltrate America.
Yeah,
That's
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, they say, Israel's the big scary problem. Russia and China have got 10 times more influence here than Israel's got. And
Yeah.
Israel's a friend. So their goal, this is why you get this huge increase in anti-Semitism in America that is completely driven by the Russians.
Wow.
That is coming out of Russian websites like aligned websites like Grey Zone, Alexander Dugin stuff. This massive rise in anti-Semitism. Well, it's driven by the Chinese and the Muslims on the left, but on the right, it is completely driven by the Russians to destroy America's support for Israel, because obviously Israel is a major target for the
Wow.
Russians and Iranians in the Middle East.
This is really scary.
It is scary, but we're going to win this. We are writers on our side, but we got to understand, that we are facing major threats from both Russia and China. We're seeing a massive increase in anti-Semitism. We're seeing a deliberate division of the American right to get us fighting each other, get us into different camps, and this is directed from our enemies. It's a very, very deliberate program. Nobody's better at propaganda than the Russians.
Yeah,
They've
that's
been
true.
doing this for nearly a century now. Look, the Russian Foreign Ministry puts out something one day and Tucker Carlson's talking about it the next. You're seeing Russian propaganda pumped into the American conservative movement 24/7. They've been doing this since 1995.
Wow.
That's when they started really targeting the American conservative movement.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.